guys. So I am going to apologize now if my phone makes any noise. Jackson is at his little Mother's Day out thing. And so I need to be able to hear my phone in case he needs me. And so, okay. I have had a lot of requests to do a bypass fibromyalgia video, just give you guys information, and speak to my experience. Like, the two main questions are like, how was the surgery when you have fibromyalgia? And the other big question was, and like, how was recovery? The other big question was, did it help my fibro at all? So we're gonna start with how the surgery was. So the surgery took me longer to recover and was way harder than I thought it would be. My surgeon prepared me ahead of time. He's like, you have fibromyalgia, and while you're gonna be fine, you know, you're probably gonna recover slower than other people. And I did recover a lot slower than people in my like support group. They were like, oh, this wasn't like so terrible. After a few, I think it was like 2 days, they're like, oh, everything's fine. I don't even know I had the bypass. And I was just like, what the? So I was really surprised because with my C-section, that's kind of how it was with my C-section. I really didn't think that would happen to me when he said that, because for me, my C-section, I was like, that really wasn't that bad. People scared me so bad, and it really wasn't like bad. Like, I remember the nurse, like, that's why I don't think I recovered from my C-section normal, because a lot of my friends did like struggle and it was hard for them. I think my fibro kind of helped me in that instance, because they weren't moving around organs and reshaping organs like my stomach, and they were just cutting into my uterus, you know, getting through all those layers, getting the baby out, sewing me back up. I think with like my normal pain levels, I was able to handle that pain like so much easier because of my fibro. So in that instance, I feel like my daily pain helped me because it didn't feel as bad to me. So then I had the bypass, and it did not go as smoothly. There is one thing. It was like, when I had my C-section, the nurse, as soon as the spinal was wearing off, I could feel my legs again. I was like, I want to walk. And she's like, no, you need to wait. You need to have pain medicine. And I was like, I think they had taken Jackson to the NICU. Like, he was in and out of the NICU. And I was like over it, because Justin kept going down and taking videos and bringing them for me. And I was getting really upset because I wanted to see my baby. And I wasn't being patient with him. And she's like, okay, I'll make you a deal. You need to take pain medicine because your spinal's worn off. You have no pain medicine. You just had a major operation. We're going to give you pain medicine. We have to wait for it to kick in, and then you can try to get up. And I was like, yeah, no, you either take the catheter up, and I'm getting up now, or I'm taking it out myself. So she ended up taking it out. She's like, all right, but this isn't going to be pretty. And I just got out of bed and started walking, and she was shook. And so with the bypass, the first day, the only thing that was terrible was the gas pain. That's like all I could focus on. I felt like I was having a heart attack when I woke up from surgery. I have had so many surgeries, unfortunately, and that one was the one that, like, I never woke up like that. Like, I was hollering like a mess. Like, I literally thought I was having a heart attack, because what they do is, when they're like putting all those things in your abdomen, they're also blowing air in so they can see in like your stomach area and stuff. And that kind of air you can't fart out. Like, you can't just take gas X, the surgery air. Like, it has to be absorbed through your body. Like, and the best way to do that, they said, is walking. So I was so miserable with gas pain, like so miserable. It was like, at first it was worse than the surgery. And I was like, I can't do this. Like, as soon as like I was in recovery and the really crazy anesthesia, because they shot me up with something when I woke up hollering. And Justin said then I had been in recovery like a really long time, and it scared him because I'd never been in recovery that long after surgery. Like they told him I was out, and it was because I had like flipped my shit. Sorry for cursing, but I'd flipped my shit and like flipped out and like panicking, so they had to like sedate me, I guess. And then they moved me to a room, and then my stepmom came and brought food to Justin. I like kind of remember that, but apparently right away they're like, okay, later we're gonna have you walk. Walking's the best way to get rid of the gas pain. So again, I was like, nah, I'm getting out of bed. If that means I'll get rid of this crap, I'm going. So I got out of bed, was walking, and I was walking so much the first day, and I just wanted that gas pain gone. So I was like in and out of the bed a lot, and it was a lot harder pain-wise in and out of the bed than my C-section. Which you get like 5 little incisions on your stomach. I say little because that's where the whatever they're called, those big prod things go in. The major work is under your skin, like the moved intestine, the newly created stomach pouch, all that stuff is inside. You don't see that. That's what you have to be careful of. That's where you can really hurt yourself if a seam rips or bust a stitch, whatever. But yeah, so the first day I was just, and the second day I was just walking. And I was also on some really crazy pain meds at the hospital because I was so uncomfortable. And so the gas pain lasted almost 4 days. I think like by the 3rd day it was much more tolerable. But I was walking so much, the nurse there was like, I've never seen a gastric patient or anybody really walk this much right after surgery. And at one point, Justin, it was like, I could hear them talking about it, like, cause I had gotten up for like the 20th time to walk. And he was talking to the nurse and he's like, yeah, she did this after her C-section too. Nobody could believe it. And if you tell me something's going to take care of my pain or whatever, then I'm going to do whatever I have to do. But in the hospital, it wasn't where it was like, it didn't seem as terrible because they were giving me a lot of pain medicine. When I came home from my C-section in the hospital, they kept giving me pain medicine. Like they'd bring it and it wasn't really an option. They told me I needed to take it. They were very firm about it. Once I got home, I didn't take any of the pain medicine. When I got home from my bypass, I was taking the pain medicine. And once I got home, it was just so hard. Like once that gas pain was gone and I could feel like the actual pain, it was like I couldn't, my side was hurting constantly. And I don't remember what it has to do with, like, I don't know if that was the side he worked on the most or whatever. There was some reason, and they told me in the hospital, I think it was my right side, that it would hurt. I could not even lay in bed. I could after my C-section. I could use my bed. After the bypass, like when I would lay, it was so uncomfortable. We had to get a recliner and I had to sleep in that and rest in that. And I would just get up and walk, but I would only walk upstairs because it was like crazy how tired I was. And the first 3 weeks, I didn't leave the house except to go see my cousin because I told myself I wouldn't cry in this. My cousin was at the point in her cancer journey where it was time for anyone that wanted to come say goodbye to say goodbye. So like right after surgery, I'd only been home a few days. We were worried that it was going to happen really soon. So my dad drove me out there, and that's pretty much the only time I left within the 3 weeks. And then she was able to hold on a little bit, and then she passed away, and then they planned her funeral, and then I left again for her viewing and the funeral. And then it was like after that I was like more confident with going out a little bit, but I also had a really bad staph infection, so that made me not feel good. But in general, like watching the people in my bypass group versus me, I could see them recovering a lot faster, not having as much pain as me. they would say. And so yeah, that was kind of how my recovery went. It definitely was slower. Wouldn't change it for the world. So then the other big question is, it's all surgery and recovery went. And the other big question is, has it helped my fibro? So yes and no. I have so much freaking energy now. And the one thing I was saying earlier that I'd mention again is, so a lot of people that have this that I personally know have had a bypass, like friends and stuff that have gone through this journey before me, they said that it was a good, we said 4 of them said, and then I had seen, like I had joined a bypass group and been like watching people's journeys before. The people I know personally said it was like 6 months before they felt like they really had their energy back. You get really tired, but if you have fibromyalgia, you already kind of know what that's like to be fatigued super easy like that. So the first 8 weeks, I was really like fatigued. It took me a good 8 weeks to feel myself again. I was really fatigued. I would do something and then I would just like, I would have to rest. And like the first like 3 weeks, I would do my walking and then I'd sit down and like be like, oh my God. And when Justin was home the first week, I slept most of the time. I walked and I slept and that was it. I was just so tired. But people told me like it was going to be pretty bad fatigue-wise for 6 months. And I was like, okay, well that sucks. But after the 8-week mark, all of a sudden, I started getting more and more energy, more than I had before the surgery, because you know when you have fibromyalgia, your fatigue is terrible. You just feel like, especially with insomnia, like you feel so tired and you can't sleep. And you just feel so like just exhausted and fatigued all the time. And I just started getting this energy and I was like, holy, like what the, it was just crazy. Like, it was just, I was like, I don't know, you would have thought I was on some speed or something because I was just like zipping around and I hadn't felt like that. Like, I can't remember the last time I had this kind of energy. Probably before fibromyalgia, where I could just keep going all day and like do what I need to do. And it's just having my fatigue fixed. And I don't know if part of it too is like my hormones got leveled right after, which was the goal of surgery. I don't know. But the fatigue aspect of my fibro is like, holy like crap, it's amazing. And on the other hand, when it comes to the pain, I don't think my pain is any less. I feel the same pain levels. Some days it feels slightly better, but I wouldn't say that this surgery changed my pain levels significantly or at all really. And I hadn't had a flare. I'm over 3 months out until this past week. I had my first flare and the first night it started and the next day was extremely painful. I could barely move around. So I have flared since surgery. So like my flares aren't gone. I'm very lucky. My flares usually only last like 4 days. They used to last like 3 weeks, 4 weeks when I was a teacher because I was always on the go, always. I couldn't like rest and take time with a flare. So, yeah, I had my first flare. I'm on the coming out the other end of it. My pain levels are about the same, but for me personally, like just the fatigue being, honestly, I feel like it's gone. My fatigue almost is gone. It's so freaking incredible because I can take care of Jackson, do everything I need to do around the house, go run errands with him, take him to do fun stuff. After going to the gym for an hour, it's so crazy. And who knows, like maybe in the future it will help my pain levels too. But it was like 1,000% worth it for the help on my fatigue. The only downside to having more energy is I have terrible insomnia from my fibromyalgia in general. And a lot of us do. Our brains don't want to shut down, and people will be like, drink boiled banana water, try melatonin, try this. I've tried magnesium oil, just every holistic, naturally thing there is, and it does not work. I will go to bed, give myself like an hour or two with no like TV or anything to like keep my brain active, and then I'll lay in bed and stare at the ceiling all night till the sun comes up. If somebody has never experienced true insomnia, like, they probably won't get it, because sometimes on my old insomnia videos, I get smart asses that are like, it's your fault. You're doing this, this, and this wrong. You just need to take melatonin. It doesn't work like that when you have a medical condition. And I don't care when people say that, because they don't get it. The ones that are really harsh and mean, I kind of try really hard not to wish it on them. But anyway, so my insomnia, I still have it. I would have bouts of it. And when I would be in a bad bout, then I would use Ambien. But most of the time, I would just stay awake for a day or two. Sometimes it goes into 2 days with no sleep. And on day 2, I'd take Ambien. But I would still have really bad bouts of it. And with the more energy, like the boost in energy, now I was telling my surgeon about this. I was like, yeah, I'm not sleeping at all. Like, I could not sleep. I have to go back on Ambien like full time for now, which is fine, because if I just have to take Ambien for now, like, I don't care, because I'm so happy and doing so well, and I wouldn't change this for the world. I have one regret, and one regret only, and that is just not freaking doing this sooner. A year before I announced to you guys that I was going to do this, my 2 rheumatologists told me this is a solution to my hormones, and I was like, yeah, no way. I don't know what held me up. The fact that it's surgery, the fact that people are so judgy about it, the fact that it's expensive, especially when your insurance doesn't cover it. And my insurance did not cover it because I don't qualify. I qualified with my BMI, I qualified with comorbidities. I technically qualified under medical necessity with my like genetic hypertension. Had it since I was thinner, but it gets worse when I'm overweight. So it was labeled as like medical necessity. But my husband's insurance company wrote their policy with Cigna to purposely exclude it, even with medical necessity. They will not, the policy they bought is to exclude it and not cover it in any way. No matter what, you can't fight it. So that might have been the thing that held me up, because I just thought I'd be having to pay my $6,000 deductible. Turns out I had to pay the whole thing cash, but it was 100% worth it. And just the relief and fatigue is just amazing. So I hope this answered all your questions. If you have any more, leave them below. I think I covered everything, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.